Oh, we can't hear you. Yeah, I think we can hear you.
Hi, my name is Bria Mason. I'm a social and cultural anthropologist, and I'm also enrolled in the doctoral program of film studies and visual culture. More importantly, I'm the new diversity and inclusion liaison here at McKinley's Children's Center.
Awesome, thank you. Thank you for coming and joining us. Rich?
Hello, everybody. My name is Rich Salgado. I'm the head coach for women's basketball at Life Pacific University, as well as the head cross-country coach. So I've been here for 6 years, so I'm excited to finally meet everybody and build relationships.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Let's see, I believe that's it. So now I'll go ahead and introduce our speaker for today. Our speaker today is Grace Sanchez. Grace Sanchez recently joined McKinley as the SVP of Development as of April 2020. Grace has been in fundraising community for over 20 years, where she has worked with large organizations such as Focus on Family and World Vision, as well as Union Rescue Mission. She has raised over $25 million during her career as a major donor specialist. Grace was born and raised in Compton, California. Her parents are both immigrants from Mexico. She has experienced intergenerational mobility and resonates with the Hispanic community. She also studied business administration at Cal State Fullerton. So I'd like to present to everybody Grace Sanchez.
Thank you, Diva, and thank you all for allowing me to be with you today. I have proof that I wrote a big, long speech for you guys, but you know what? I would love if we could imagine that we are in a kitchen and we're with friends and family, and this is a place where you bring things that you can share openly and that it's safe. I shared previously that I have been a Pomona Rotarian, and I am considering joining you all. So it truly is an honor to be with you. I want to thank Tim for inviting me as well. It's funny how life is. You know, I think that you really do find people that you can maybe present an idea and say, you know, am I way out in left field? And that's how this all started. So I'm going to start off by asking you all a question. I think I know the answer, but I just want to put it out there. How many of you feel like we are really, really living in some tumultuous times? I mean, aside of COVID, I mean, everything that 2020 has just seemed like it has, you know, maybe made it that much more prevalent. I often say this cautiously, but it feels like maybe we are living a non-official civil war. Our country is very, very divided. There seems to be, you know, let alone an election year, but there just seems to be this tension that is really just coming to the forefront. And so, although I've been hired to raise money, and that is my primary role here at McKinley, I am responsible for the development department that we go out every day to raise money for not only the 28 boys who live on our campus, but for all of the departments that we have. That's mental health, to schools, to non-public schools. We have foster family, an adoption agency. And so instead of taking time to tell you a lot about McKinley, I want to speak to you about something that has really come to be somewhat of a, I kind of want to call it like maybe my cross that I am to bear during this season in our lives. And that is that, you know, we've got Black Lives Matter on one hand, we've got, you know, the police who've come up with, Blue Lives Matter, and then you've got everyone believing all lives matter. And really what prompted all of this is that unfortunately, I don't see where we're moving toward a goal of reconciliation. How do we heal our country? How do we, instead of this gap getting wider and wider, how are we going to begin to bring some discussions to the table? And so what I presented to Tim when he came to meet with us here at McKinley a few months ago was something that I put together that I just thought, I'm just going to take a risk. And I called it Forgiveness Matters. And one of the things that really I began to realize is that, we have 28 boys, young men, from the ages of 10 to 18 who reside here on our campus off of Cypress. And these young men have been through probably the most horrific experiences. I do want to just mention that they all come from a background of drug or alcohol abuse, abandonment, physical and psychological difficulties. And many of them arrive here at McKinley depressed, sad, angry, and dealing with unbelievable traumas. But here at McKinley, we have an opportunity, and we have an opportunity to make an environment where they can, we can nurture them and empower them for a better future. And I do want to pause there for a moment because I feel like every time I go to campus, it's hard to imagine. I have 3 children, and I always wonder, what's their Saturdays going to be like this coming weekend? If you all have children, your kids might go swimming or have some activity. But unfortunately, the 28 boys on our campus, they don't get to go home. They don't get to see their parents. We become that for them. So what prompted this Forgiveness Matters is that these young men are the future. And they had been talking about how there seems to be this 30-year process, right? Both from back from the Watts riots to the Los Angeles riots, and now what we're facing now. It seems to follow a 30-year pattern. So these young boys will be hopefully not having to face this that can be escalated in the next 30 years. So what is it that I am wanting for you to walk away with is, how do we change some of our own biases? I think that we all have, either through the media or, you can't pick up your phone without being impacted by what comes across. We see reports of crime, we see on the news, and unfortunately, many times people of color are painted in a way that has a negative connotation. And that has been what has been really kind of been fueling so much of where we find ourselves. So one of the things that I asked is, how can we change this? Where do we go? How do we begin to bridge so that we can become a little more united? So I thought that maybe the first step would be to understand, obviously, that we're not perfect. Sometimes we have to forgive ourselves. We have certain ways of thinking. I grew up in South Central. I was the only non-African American in my graduating class. So, sometimes we come with things that kind of we've already been ingrained with our thinking. The second thing that I thought could be helpful is to learn about our 28 young men who have had to forgive people, who've had to forgive the very loved ones, their parents. Keep in mind, our children have been entrusted to us so that we can protect them and we can give them a better future. But these young boys, their very loved ones betrayed them and have been the reason why they're now here at McKinley. And better understanding that. And the third thing is that maybe learning us as a team how to recognize our biases and how do we begin to make changes so that we can be better to examples to our youth. So one of the things that we have here at McKinley, we have something that we call the human principles. And these are principles that guide us in our work here at McKinley. And it's the acronyms. So H is for hopeful, U is for understanding, M is for moral, A is for awesome, and N is for nurturing. And these are the things that we try to embody every day when we come here, because we believe that these are the things, the tools, and the characteristics that are going to help these young men. And so one of the things that we wanted to bring to you all today is the possibility. We've been going out to the community, both to corporations who seem to be open now that this has become a little bit more front and center, and helping to find advocates, people who would want to come alongside and say, you know, I'm willing to have difficult conversations in order to bring healing and in order to bring reconciliation. So I don't know for any baseball enthusiast out there, but Rod Carew was a longtime Angels. He has agreed to come alongside us and to begin to have discussions with both community members and also with others. I don't know if you're familiar with a gentleman by the name of Rick Caruso. He's the real estate developer for the Grove and for the Americana. His company has agreed to, himself, but also adding someone from his company to participate and be somewhat of an ambassador of bringing healing and reconciliation, because he sees how important it is. I do want to just pause and mention that Mr. Caruso himself was very vulnerable in sharing how he had to work through the looting and the riots. We know that the Grove endured lots of damage, and how he had to have his own introspection and realizing that there is a lot of anger, there is a lot of, this, I think he called it that Los Angeles is the tale of two cities, that, the West Hollywood area has so much wealth, but it's just 15 miles to the east, and there is so much poverty and such a disparity amongst our community. So Diva, I'm going to pause for a moment and just ask you if you could be my timekeeper, because I could just go on until over the weekend. But anyway, so just let me know when I'm getting close to my time.
You're good right now. I believe you have about 5 more minutes.
5 more minutes, great. So here is the really the meat and potatoes of what I want to present to you all. And that is that, because Rotary, and especially you guys, you're our neighbors, you are here, you're the ones closest to us. If there would be ways that you guys might be able to partner with us, not just, I'm not asking for money today, I'm asking for collateral, like human collateral, your time, your willingness to come and to have dialogue with our leadership, with our teams, with our staff. So we've come with 4 ideas. The first is, how do we allow these 28 young men for their lives to be different? So one of the things that we've come up with is 28 miles in their shoes. We have a campaign that's called Charity Miles. It's a way to walk especially during this time, a way to make miles matter for McKinley. But one of the things that we're working on behind the scenes is being able to tell you about these 28 young boys who have been here, telling you their stories, so that when you're walking for them, that you could just imagine. I mean, it's really difficult to empathize with a situation that is so, I mean, it would be a horror story, and that is their history. So that is one way that we are seeking your participation. The other is that we are going to bring you 28 dreams. What do these young men want to be? I'm going to reach into my desk real quick. I'm being very on the fly here, but one of our young men is a graphic artist. He has a desire to draw and to be a cartoonist, and these are his works. And one of the things that we're doing is that because unfortunately, because of HIPAA rules, you are never able to see the faces of these young boys, but we are building characters that are going to be animated from this young man's drawings, and we're going to be able to tell their story in a video that will be able to be heard by many, so that their stories can be kind of infiltrated and see as a way of change and a way to make a difference. And then the last one is that we're looking for folks who would be willing to sit on this advisory board. This is a group alongside Rick Caruso and Rod Carew, and we've got many others. We've got a discussion going with Denzel Washington's office, who has expressed an interest and sees that maybe through Forgiveness Matters could be a way to bridge and to bring some healing to our land here. By the way, Casey, I loved your prayer because I think you're right. We are one, and unfortunately, I think right now our country is experiencing tremendous divide, and I just hope that maybe it's through McKinley that we can be a catalyst for change. So as I close and I take these last few minutes, I would like to share with you some of the questions, and these are difficult questions, and I'm just going to warn you, they're going to rattle and they're going to shake and maybe even be uncomfortable. But in order for change to happen, we know that we have to be willing to ask the difficult questions. I call them fierce conversations, because those are the ones that lead to healing and transformation. So these are some of the questions that we want to bring. And the first one would be, and we're not going to open it up for discussion today, unfortunately, because of time, but if people are willing to share an experience that they have had or witnessed where racism has been prevalent in their lives, would they be willing to share how racism has affected that person's journey in life? Where have they had that? Have you ever struggled with implicit biases toward people of color? Where do you think these implicit biases have come from? And how have you worked to fix them? And if people have been racist to you in the past, but they want to seek your forgiveness, would you be willing to forgive? And if so, how would that lead to reconciliation? And the last one would be, what would that process of forgiveness look like? So again, I want to be sensitive to time. I am so grateful for the opportunity to come today. And again, I do want to close with this. This is a very touchy subject, and we know that sometimes it's easier to turn the other way or to say, "Ugh, I don't want to get involved." But, I believe it was Martin Luther King who said that, doing nothing is doing something. And unfortunately, it's not for the good. So again, I thank you. I hope that something that I shared would resonate with your heart, and that maybe it's going to stretch you to want to do something for us. If it's to walk, if it's to participate in, being a part of the 28 Dreams for these young men, or if you just would want to volunteer, we do have a mentorship program. We just would love to have you guys come and experience what we're doing here at McKinley. So again, thank you guys. It's been an honor to be with you. And I don't know, Diva, if we have time for questions, would we be able to open it up?
We do. We have a few minutes. We could take like two questions, maybe three. Anybody has any questions?
More than a question, I want to put a charge to Tim and Raymond and myself, just because we had a conversation about 3 months ago about how to gather the San Dimas Youth Family Action Coalition team again around the issue of reconciliation and neighborhood relations. And so I think what Grace prompted us today is very much a catalyst that conversation needs to be picked back up and championed. And I think those of us right here in the room today are the best people I can think of who can move that forward very quickly. So Tim, I'm putting that back in your court, but at the same time calling us as a Rotary not to let it be Tim's to make it happen, but ours to own. Thank you, Grace.
Thank you, Casey.
Anybody else? Any other questions? No?
Hey,
Okay.
Diva, can you hear me? It's Steve.
Oh, hey, Steve. Yes.
Hey, I'm sorry, I'm on my phone, so I can't see or hear or can't see anybody. Can we just make sure that we get the contact information, because this is definitely something I'd like to get more involved in?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So one thing I want to say, Grace, is to go along with what Casey and Steve just said. Yeah, we told, this is something right up our alley, something we want to do, something that we've worked with McKinley in the past. So absolutely, this is something I'd want to join in, even if I did it on my own with just friends on the side. Not these friends, because these are my friends too, but but this is something I would definitely want to be a part of and help out with.
Great. Well, what we'll do is, I noticed that there were some comments on the chat box. So Bria and I will give you our emails and our contact information. And again, guys, thank you so much. I really feel like we have been in a kitchen with family and people that we trust. And, I'm grateful that you guys are open to this, because I think, I believe that this could catch a national presence, but everything starts at home, and everything starts with those that are willing to, come arm in arm. And I think what an incredible thing that San Dimas could, be the lead to begin making this change. So again, thank you so much. So humbled by you guys all. So grateful.
I want to put just an exclamation point on it. Rich, I'm so glad that you're here today representing LPU, and I don't know quite how you got here, but I know it's, in my language, it's an act of God that your timing is appointed to be here today. I would love to imagine with what it would look like for us to get a 3-tiered mentorship program where a Rotarian member is paired up with an LPU athlete. And I specifically picked the athlete, one, because it's part of where Rich you touch, but they represent a different lens of hope and movement. So you have a Rotarian LPU athlete, and then paired up with one of the 28 young individuals over there. What an amazing little way that we could figure something out like that, or I don't know, but I know there's a lot more to come.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. I got on here because my assistant coach, Michele Rebozzi, she's on here. She got kicked out earlier. So I don't know if she's on. I'd like her to introduce herself real quick, if that's okay.
Absolutely. She's actually next to speak, I believe.
Okay.
Somebody is speaking.
Yeah, that's how I got on this call. So I'm grateful for you guys. Thanks, Casey. Appreciate it.
So I'll just send it over to you, Michele, for our fast craft talk.
Okay. Well, thanks guys for having me, and Grace, thank you for introducing just yourself and what your program's about. But yeah, my name is Michele Rebozzi. I'm a physical therapist at Covina Hill Sports Medicine. We're located in San Dimas, so that could be a little confusing sometimes. But we specialize in sports rehab and general orthopedics, but I just kind of wanted to toss that in there. But the main reason I'm here is to represent Life Pacific with Coach Rich. So I'm the lead assistant for the women's program, women's basketball. And just to kind of give you guys a quick intro to our program, we are in the NAIA. We're Division I in a league called the Golden State Athletic Conference. So it's one of the top leagues in the NAIA. I'm not sure if you even knew Life Pacific had a sports program, but something kind of cool about our program is that we're brand new. This is going to be our 3rd season. And together it's going to be Coach Rich and I's 2nd season coming up. So it's been a lot of fun just trying to build a program. We try and we have 2 main principles, I would say. The first one is our foundation is off the 3 C's. So Christ, community, and competition. So Christ, we're a Christian college, so we always want to make sure, we're playing for the right reasons and teaching our girls about God and helping, grow their hearts in that. But the second one is community, and that's probably one of our biggest reasons for wanting to join in with the Rotary Club. And we really just want to be a group of people that serve our community. And it was so cool to hear Grace speak on just some opportunities that I could tell from Coach Rich's comments, but also just watching him that those got him excited. That's exciting, is working on, all the racial reconciliation stuff that's going on right now. That's really in our hearts as a program and as a school as well. And then the last one is competition. So, we are a collegiate program, so we hope to be competitive soon in our league. And then the second main thing that we focus on is we just try to teach our girls to win the moment. So, that goes as little as walking down the side of the street and seeing a piece of trash. What's the right thing to do? Are you going to walk by, or are you going to pick up the piece of trash? All the way to the classroom, obviously onto the court. And so, yeah, we're just really thankful to even be able to be here with you guys and to introduce ourselves. And we're really just looking for ways to help and serve you guys and just other places in the community that may need us. So, and I know our girls are really excited. We actually have a player right now doing an internship at the McKinley house, and we have a player doing an internship with the sheriff's office in San Dimas. So, so we're really proud of them for that. But yeah, I just wanted to do the quick intro, and thank you guys for listening. If you have any questions, I can also put my email in the chat too. So yeah.
Go ahead and put your email in the chat either way. It's always
Thank you, Michelle.
to have your contact information. And yes, thank you so much for sharing what you do. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to the fine master, Casey.
I am the fine master. You can take that any way you want. I'm just doing fine myself. In the Rotary, we have an opportunity to talk about what's fine, what's not fine, and somebody else that's fine. And by fine, we make it in a positive sense rather than a negative sense. And then for our visitors today, we fine ourselves money to talk. So basically, it's like buying your soapbox. What do you want to talk about? Yourself, somebody else, or you want to complain? We charge you 3 times the rate if you're going to complain. And so as a visitor today, you are welcome to fine yourself to talk. If you do find yourself to talk today, I'm going to say that we're going to donate it right back to McKinley's. I just made that authoritative decision. So if somebody is a visitor today and they find themselves, that money's going in Grace's pocket. Not literally, but she knows what I mean. So Rotarians, fulfill your fines and tell us what's fine, what's not fine, or if somebody else is fine. I'll go first. I fine myself because I still haven't paid my fine from last week, Steve. It is in my glove box. I've got $40 to give to you. It'll get there. I'm glad you already paid the bill. So I find myself $5 additional for paying my fine from last week late.
All right, got it. Thank you for that, Casey.
So I'm going to go for 10, but it's 2-part. This first part, I'm fining myself $5, and I want to thank Mike Wallace personally. Mike and a couple of guys from the lodge helped me relocate the victim of a violent crime on Saturday or Sunday, and I really appreciate the labor and all the hard work that went into doing that. But I would normally go $10, but somebody hit my car with their truck on the way out. So I'm reducing that to $5. And now I'm going to put another $5 on because yesterday my grandsons, one's 22 and one's 20, we weightlifted together, and I can lift twice as much as either of those 20-year-olds, and that's worth $5. So I'm down for 10.
Raymond, I can't tell if it's a glare on the camera, but I'm going to reduce your fine by $5 so you can buy yourself some new glasses because they look broken.
They are broken.
Oh my gosh. So I'm gonna go ahead. Oh, go ahead.
I will find
Mike.
myself $20 because, as Raymond said, the tire of my truck rubbed on Raymond's fender as we were unloading some items at the storage facility, and I feel really bad about that. So I'm going to find myself $20.
I've got $5 for missing last week's meeting. There was good reason. I was wallowing in my own sorrows because I turned 40 last Wednesday. So I was out of the office. So $5 for me.
Love the decorations in your office, Tim.
Yeah, you like that?
Wow.
I haven't taken it down yet.
Good stuff. Go ahead, Steve.
What's that?
Oh, I thought maybe you had a fine. Does somebody else have a fine?
I have a fine. So I'm going to fine myself $5 because we brought a new pet or a new family member. I shouldn't call it pet, but my daughter wanted a dog, and it is a German Shepherd and Husky mix. She's a beautiful little thing. Well, a big thing actually. And she did not cry all night. So I was so happy. So I'm going to fine $5 for being happy that I got good sleep. I don't know if my daughter did, but I did because that wasn't my responsibility. So.
You might want to hold on to that fine, Diva. With that breed, there's going to be some crying going on.
Well, it might be my daughter's crying, but not mine.
Okay, I'm going to find myself $20. I'm bummed that I missed the first part of Grace's conversation, but what she talked about is something that I'm super passionate about. And I always think about something that one of my favorite TV personalities and writers said. His name's Bomani Jones. And he said, we'll never make any type of impact or change on race and racial discrimination until white people are willing to have a conversation where they're made uncomfortable. And so when Grace talked about the questions that she wants us to answer, I think that's really important. I think that's where this has to start. I think based on upbringing and, a lot of people just don't know people of other races. And so you don't understand maybe what others are going through, but you have to allow yourself to learn and to be uncomfortable in order to make things better. And on a day when a lot of people will say justice wasn't done in Kentucky, I think having conversations on race is really, really important. So I'm glad that we as a club did that today. Thank you, everybody.
Absolutely. So anybody else? Sorry, Casey.
I was just going to say, I think our fines are complete. We'll transition into the 360. So I am your 360 presenter today. And what we do each week with the Rotary is we have the opportunity, and Raymond, I'm going to share screen. I'm going to do a PowerPoint here. We share a 360 action item, which is an invitation for you to take immediate action in your own life to assist you to go forward. And I'm excited that something around us today that we didn't plan all this together, but both from the prayer to what Grace had to say, our conversation, and what I'm going to present right now, they all align themselves very well. What I'm going to share screen with here is a little bit about perspective and mindset shift. I have the opportunity with the school district to present some wellness, and this is just the opening of my wellness understanding for how do we have a well mind. What I want to share with you is this is a real, actual, and it's like a photo. It's just blowing up here. And I want you to look at it for just a second. The photo, does it sit well with you, or does it feel like it's just a little bit off, like something's not quite right? It is not a Photoshop. It is not doctored. It is a legit photo. What I want you to recognize now is what is your point of view about that photo? And watch what happens as I give you a new point of view on that same photo. I'm not going to change the photo. I'm just going to change the way you see the photo. Anybody see something already? Boom. Now that photo doesn't irritate your eyes. The photo, it's not a squint any longer like there's something wrong. There's something really right about the photo. And all it was that you were looking at the photo upside down. And a lot of times our mindset and our point of view isn't wrong. It's just not in focus because we're looking at it from an upside down or an off point of view. And that's really what I wanted to present today for our 360 is an invitation for us to step back from what we're seeing and ask ourselves, is there another way to look at it? We'll do the same thing here. We got 3 little activities in our 6 minutes. Your mindset reveals your perspective. So somebody come off mute and tell me what they see. There's 3 things to see. What do you see? Who sees what? Unmute yourself and yell it out.
An elephant?
Elephant.
Giraffe.
Giraffe, thank you, Craig. One more.
I'll take a guess. It's a goat.
Goat, perfect. Doesn't matter, it's your point of view. Now tell me, 3 different people, what do you see?
A penguin?
Penguin.
Turkey.
Turkey's great, and? Sea lion. Now what do you see? The same picture, but it's just
Mirror image.
we see a mirror image. We didn't change, we didn't doctor, we didn't change anything. We simply invited us to see one thing without the other. And what happens in our mindset is we get blinded to only see one image at a time, when in reality there's a lot more going on. We just need to be able to be willing to acknowledge that I just might not be seeing it from your point of view. And so in that mindset, it's the way that your mind perceives things. And unfortunately, we get stuck in the trenches of believing that the way we're seeing something is the only way to see it. We got one, these are just slides of education. Like I said, I use this and it's just my opening invitation for educators to begin to recognize that every student in the room has their own unique mindset. And as an educator, the challenge is to come alongside them to see things from their point of view and to open up that opportunity that we can explode their mindset when they begin to see that possibilities are real and available for them. One more little game here. Opportunity for you, your finger is the pencil. So connect the dots with 4 straight lines without picking up the pencil. So take your finger and try to connect all 9 dots with only 4 straight lines. And you're not allowed to pick up your pencil, your finger. Go for it. You got 15 seconds.
Done.
Raymond's a genius on a quantifiable scale. Also a leadership master and guru and writes books on this stuff. Love to you, Raymond.
Thank you very much.
All right. Your 15 seconds is up. Here's line number 1, line number 2, line number 3, and line number 4. Very simple way in 4 single straight lines without picking up your pencil to connect the dots. The secret is you had to step back a little bit and get outside of the box. You've heard the cliche, get out of the box. It is absolutely true, and we need more opportunities to get outside the box. So let me push you a little farther. Connect all 9 dots with 3 lines. If you thought 4 was hard, 3 is actually easier as long as you apply the same principle. I'm not going to make it take too long because I only got 6 minutes, but it's very simple. You have to step a little bit farther outside the box, and with 3 lines, you can connect all 9 dots. All right, let's go 1 line farther. I want 1 line to connect all 9 dots. Is it possible? Show of hands, who thinks it's possible for 1 line to connect all 9 dots? I only see 3 of you at a time, so I don't know who raised their hand and who did. It didn't matter. Here's the point, gonna blow your mind and invite you into a mindset shift. You really gotta step out farther. Archimedes did a wonderful sense. Many don't give me a lever long enough and I can move the entire world. The same principle applies. when we get far enough away from a situation, we learn to laugh, we learn to have humor, we learn to be creative and understand that our lens of getting up close to something to analyze it does not actually free us. It puts us in a bondage to it. So there's your one line for 3 straight dots. It just has to go around the globe. So overall, 360 today is your mindset shift, is inviting new possibilities in the way that we see things, the way we think, the way we feel, and the way we take action. And that should set us up for our 4-way test as well. Thanks for joining me on a 6-minute or 360 experience.
Thank you, Casey. So next, I'm going to go into the calendar. So please, everybody, review the calendar. We have such a great lineup of speakers, ending the month of September, getting into the month of October and November. A couple things I just want to bring up. Today, we're meeting to congratulate and present Terry Kistler his Paul Harris Fellow Award. So I sent out an email for those that are for the Rotarians. So if you can't make it, and I've had whoever can't make it up, some of you have already responded. But for those that can, let me know so we can meet up. All the information was on that email. Second, I just wanted to let you know of what happened last week. Myself, Mike, and Raymond had a successful drop off to the firefighters and the sheriff's deputies, thanking them for everything they do for our community. And we went ahead and gave a little thank you card on the behalf of the Rotary Club of San Dimas, as well as the next thing is also, I wanted to know, and Steve, maybe you can give me the dollar amount. How much were we able to raise? Oh, there's us. How much were we able to raise for the disaster fund for Oregon?
$250.
350? 250? Awesome. So thank you, everybody. And that was just from the donations for from our fines last week. Also, I wanted to go into the district art contest. So last week, it was mailed out, all the information to the local schools. And I know that Raymond has received some feedback requesting information via email. So Raymond, did you get any other feedback?
Chris Black at Chaparral and Scott Sparks at I think, is that San Dimas or Lone Hill? San Dimas, and then and then 2 teachers at Lone Hill. So I know that there's plenty of students from the San Dimas area participating, and I know Casey also got a text from a teacher. So yes, it went out and it's been distributed widely.
Yeah,
Perfect.
the conversation is out there. It's going well.
Good, good. And Grace, the picture you showed of those drawings,
Yes.
maybe that would be something that student, I don't know how old or what grade or what school, but if they're in the Bonita Unified, we can send you out that information. Maybe they would like to be part of that art contest.
Definitely. That would be fantastic.
Perfect.
Count us in. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. And one thing I just want really quickly is just to go over is that for us Rotarians, our board meeting, we have a lot to discuss, so we will need it to be at least an hour. Being the fact that our meetings are already an hour, I was thinking this particular board meeting coming up, we can do it the day before on the 6th of October, and I'm going to give you 2 time slots. So the majority rules, either 8 a.m. on Tuesday or 5 p.m. on Tuesday. So give me the answer at the end of the day, just email me, and then whoever the majority will rule on that one, okay? Other than that, Club Assembly is going to be October 7th, and that also will be about an hour and a half long. And we're gonna go over different information about things that we need to go over, new projects, continuing on different projects from the past and things like that. So just wanted everybody to take note. I'll send you all information on that as we lead up to that meeting. One last thing, Club Foundation Chair Training is the 24th, so that's tomorrow at 5 p.m. I'll send you all the link again. So if anybody that's interested in taking that training, please jump on that Zoom meeting tomorrow. So next, I'll go ahead and go into the 4-way test. So for those that do not know what the 4-way test is, it's basically a nonpartisan, basically an ethical guide, if you will, on how we as Rotarians use or how we live our life, right? So one thing that I had to do training yesterday for my licenses as a lender, and one thing as we were closing our 8-hour conference, they brought up we talked about ethics and how we have a lot of people have a bad taste of their mouths of lending, going back to 2008 and the whole market dropping and certain companies doing bad things, and how do we come out of that? Do we see that ever happening again in our industry? So one thing that they had asked is, how do you live your life? How can you be assured that you yourself will not compromise yourself as a professional, as an individual, to move forward in this industry? And one thing that I said was, look, I actually happened to have my 4-way test page out, and I said, this is how I live my life, because it is. One thing is that works and resonates is the most important thing. Is it beneficial to all concerned? So is it going to, and in the sense is my job, my job is to make sure I give my clients the best opportunity to be able to either one, purchase a home, to another, be able to keep their home, or just to have themselves save some money. And it doesn't matter what I gain out of it, because that's the job that I chose to have. So that's where I said, is it beneficial to the client, number one? Is it going to, obviously I represent a company. Is it going to benefit the company? Are they going to take a loss because I'm helping this person? Or is it going to make sense for the company itself? So that was one thing that I presented, that look, as a professional, we have to make sure we're doing the right thing, no matter what everybody else around us is doing. So if I'm the only outsider in my company that's following what I know in my heart is correct, whether it can be ethical or, and it could follow my values, and it might not follow the company's values, but I know that it's the right thing to do for me. So that's something that I wanted to kind of bring up, was sometimes in life, we have to stand outside and know that what's best might not be best for everybody, but we know we're doing the right thing. So that is my little piece on the 4-way test. So next, I believe we have less than 1 minute left. So that's basically it, everybody. I want to thank everybody for participating. I think we had a great talk today. Like Grace said, kind of like a kitchen table meeting with the family. I feel like everybody had something to say. Everybody got involved, and it was a great conversation and opened most of our eyes to kind of collaborate to do new and new things together as a team. So if nobody has anything else to say, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. And Grace, I will definitely message you, send you out some information. Thank you to all the guests here today. Have a great day. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye, guys. Have a great week.
Thank you so much for letting me join.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.